Good afternoon. I am Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, and I am joined here with many of my colleagues that represent this area, as well as many leaders and citywide representatives. We wanted to just really come out and voice our outrage on this item that has been painted what looks like a stencil on many Chinese businesses throughout this community. And with a stencil of this type, someone took their time to shape their racist thought. This is a premeditated action, and today we're calling on the New York City Police Department to investigate this as a hate crime. And when you take this issue and what has happened to the Chinese community, and you add it with the incident that took place on June 26 on 6th Avenue and West 26th Street in Manhattan, a man using a walker was assaulted after his walk, and person was yelling anti-gay slurs. On July 31st, while riding the Coney Island-bound N train, a South Korean woman was abused by a man who followed her. On July 16th, New York One reported that a Manhattan food vendor said a man beat him outside his cart in an anti-Muslim attack. A video went viral on a woman shouting hateful remarks to a Muslim woman wearing a hijab on the S-53 bus. We took a ride over from Brooklyn into Staten Island to demonstrate our anger over this issue. On July 30th, a man punched another man on the B-25 bus in downtown Brooklyn, shouting anti-gay and anti-white threats. These 5 incidents, and this being the 6th type of incident, because there appear to have been 5 to 6 type of graffitis used to make derogatory statements about one of the largest Chinese and Asian communities in the country. And so this assault on a building was also an assault on our community and what we stand for and what we represent. And when you look at these other attacks, increase in anti-gay violence, an increase, a spike in hate crimes across the city, we cannot help but to raise our voice each time an incident of this magnitude takes place. We will not be silent, and we will ensure that anyone who's involved should be held accountable. And I'm going to add a $1,000 reward to any information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person who's responsible for this action. We want anyone who saw something, anyone who has a video footage that they can turn over to the police department. We're asking all the businesses in this area to review their tapes and see if they saw someone in this vicinity to come forward. We must catch the person responsible for doing this. This is hateful, this is mean, this is attempting to degrade communities and create a level of terror in our communities, and is not accepted and won't be tolerated. Just imagine that someone took their time to create a stencil. They took their time to identify what we believe are Asian-ran businesses. They took their time to spray paint. They took their time to move throughout this community. They went to a community that's predominantly a growing Chinese and Asian population. There was a premeditated action to identify a particular group and harass that group by using this method. And we need to be clear on that. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't some child writing a term on the wall somewhere. This wasn't something that someone just happened to have stumbled upon. No, this was a premeditative action to identify a group and treat them in a disparaging, negative fashion. That, to me, says hate crime all over it, and that crime needs to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And so I want to reach out to our colleagues that's here that represent this area and thank them. All that we've done to build bridges, we are not going to allow the numerical minority among us to try to destroy those bridges. We have built an amazing bridge in relationship with all of the communities in this borough, and we're going to continue to move forward. That is why it's so important that our various groups are here to stand with our Chinese and Asian community to state, you are not alone on fighting and pushing back this issue. You shouldn't be the ones that are saying it was wrong. Those of us who are your neighbors and those of us who are your colleagues, those of us who worship with you and shop with you and participate in the beauty of the diversity of Brooklyn with you, we must be the ones to stand up and say, this will not be tolerated in our borough and in our city and in our country. So I want to thank Councilman Treyger, who we reached out to and spoke last night, immediately responded to this incident, and asked him to say a few words at this time. Councilman Treyger.
I want to thank Borough President Adams and his office for their swift response and for their leadership, for all of my colleagues here from the state and citywide officials, leaders, and advocates. Let me be very clear. This is one of the sickest hate crimes that we've experienced here in this neighborhood in recent memory. This is a sick, despicable, deranged hate crime perpetrated not just against the Chinese community, but against all people here in this neighborhood. We condemn, denounce, and reject this type of hate and intolerance. I want to also make very clear, this hate crime does not define who we are. This is a diverse, wonderful, beautiful neighborhood made up of hardworking families, seniors, and children that celebrate and welcome diversity. That is what makes us great. That is what makes us great. As the Borough President noted, we're seeing hate crimes rise across not just the borough, but across the city and across the country. To me, there is no surprise of the anti-immigrant, divisive rhetoric that we're seeing across the country, and it's hitting home. But let's make it very clear. We will always stand up against hate here in Bensonhurst and here in Brooklyn. I have been in touch with the 62nd Precinct Captain and his office, as well as the NYPD presence that is here, and we appreciate the NYPD. We are insisting that this hate crime be treated as a hate crime, and we want the Hate Crimes Task Force to be immediately activated to investigate who did this and bring them to justice. And I have confidence in the NYPD because there are cameras here. Businesses do have video coverage of what happened. And I have confidence in the NYPD that we will bring this person or these people to justice. And once they do, I'm calling upon the district attorney to prosecute this person to the fullest extent of the law. Zero tolerance for hate. Stop the 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 hate. Diversity and unity will triumph always. Thank you, Borough President.
Thank you. And also joining us is our amazing Senator Diane Savino.
Thank you, Eric. Borough President, I echo the words of my wonderful colleague, Councilman Treyger. We must send a message, a very clear message, that this community and every community across this city rejects this hate crime. I heard a reporter ask a few minutes ago, why do you think this is a hate crime? Well, if you look in the penal code, it's pretty simple. If you target a group or a gender because of their ethnicity, their race, their sex, that is the definition of a hate crime in the New York State Penal Code. And we are saying very simply, we are going to find this person. Because, you know, he may be a criminal, but apparently he's not that smart. There's cameras all over the place. We're going to find him. But I want to speak to him directly right now. Because I want to remind him that the likelihood is he may only be a first or a second generation American himself, as I am, as many of us are in this community. He should remember the stories that his grandparents told him about how they were welcomed. You know, we're a nation of immigrants, and we like to talk about that we have an open door policy for people coming here. But usually when they get here, we don't treat them particularly well. If you are Irish, you should remember the experience of your great-grandparents when they arrived and the signs went up, Irish need not apply. If you were Italian American immigrant, like my great-grandparents were, when you got here, they weren't rolling out the welcome mat for you. The names, the derogatory terms that Americans can develop for people who move to this country are really outstanding. It's amazing. They can come up with all sorts of insults. But what we saw from this person was that an insult that every woman should decry. Not just the Chinese American women, but I stand here with my sisters who are Chinese American and Chinese immigrants. And I say clearly, we reject that. Do not degrade us for your own entertainment. Do not use us as a way to make a point. Do not treat women this way in any language. We are not going to accept this, not in this community, not in Coney Island, not in Brighton Beach, not in Staten Island, not in Greenwich Village, not in Harlem. Nowhere in this city will we stand and accept this. So we're going to find you, whoever you are, and you're going to hang your head in shame, and you're going to get prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law by our wonderful Brooklyn District Attorney, because what you did is reprehensible and it is a crime.
Well said, well said. Our great Assemblyman Bill Colton.
Thank you. You know, this gathering, this press conference, I want to thank all of our elected officials, Borough President Eric Adams, Councilman Mark Treyger. I'm glad to see the trains are running on schedule. I want to thank the Borough President, Councilman Mark Treyger, Senator Diane Savino, all of our elected officials here, because this is an important moment. This is a moment when a community stands together and condemns what is clearly a vicious, vulgar hate crime. This was done with pre-thought. This was done by somebody who took the trouble to make the instruments of their hate and use those implements to put them, to write them, to paint them on buildings that did not belong to that person. So this is something we must come together and we must speak out against. And you know, I also want to recognize and thank the interns from my office, high school interns who I brought here today to witness this press conference. I think that, you know, it's important for young people to know that we speak out against such hate crimes. We speak out against such hate, and we are united as a community. This is an attack on every single person of our community, no matter what their ethnicity, no matter what their gender. This is an attack on us all, and we won't tolerate it, and we will not be silent in the face of it. So we are asking, number one, that anyone who has information, bring that information forward to the police, so that if you have cameras that are recording films on the streets, 86th Street, between 21st Avenue and 18th, 17th Avenue, if you have anything that shows suspicious persons, they must have been carrying in all likelihood a stencil, spray paint cans. If you have any information, bring it to the police, because we must identify this criminal person or persons, and we must clearly prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. And the elected officials who represent you are united in demanding that, and we are going to follow up to make sure that that happens. That is due to every person in the community, because an attack on one is an attack on all. Also, we need to educate those few minority people who have this twisted mentality which shows hate, which shows this kind of venom. We need to educate their parents, their family. We need to make sure that they tell them clearly with one voice that this behavior will not be accepted. No matter what the motivation for it was, no matter what was the intent, it will not be accepted, because it does damage to our entire community. So I stand here today as the Assemblyman in the 47th Assembly District, joined by all of my elected officials who represent this community. And I say, together with them, we condemn this, we demand that swift action be done to identify the persons who did it, and we demand that there be full prosecution to the full extent of the law of this as a hate crime, because a hate crime it clearly is. And we are going to reach out to community leaders, to religious leaders, clergy, and make sure that they join our voice and speak out also, and give them the opportunity to speak to their congregations, to speak to their organizations, and let them know that this community stands united behind anyone who is the victim of a hate crime, because the victim of a hate crime from anyone, any group in this neighborhood, every person in this neighborhood becomes a victim equally together with them. So we're going to continue speaking that out. I also want to thank my district leader, Nancy Tong. She was here with me on 86th Street last night as we viewed the scene. We spoke to some of the store owners, and we are not going to remain silent, but we are all joining together in speaking out against this hate crime. So together we are united. Hate must stop. 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 Together, that's the message, and I hope it's loud and clear and it reaches the ears of those people who perpetuated this terrible crime. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much, Simeon. And while we have Nancy, please say a few words, District Leader.
My name is Nancy Tong. My name is Nancy Tong, and I'm the 47th Assembly District Leader for this area. And I'm the first elected Asian American. I just say this is America. I'm really, really very disappointed. It should not happen here. Especially, I take this personally. Why am I taking this personally? I have my own United Progressive Democratic Club just around the corner here. And here they have two signs putting this up. You call this? It is a hate crime toward our community. Why don't they put somewhere else? They put it right here. So I take it personally. They are doing this to my community. And it has to stop. My organization is united. I always say we all should be united. We have a good relationship with all the people, all the neighborhood here. We share each other's culture. That's what we are here for.
And most of the people here in the United States are immigrants. And I believe they already forgot about this. I don't care, but if this is not the generation, I'm pretty sure generations before they were immigrants. I myself is an immigrant. Why are you targeting a certain group? Especially right now, what they're saying over there is targeting our Asian people. And we're not going to be silent. And we need to catch whoever is doing this to us, because it should not be like this. It's so nice to live in here. We should all unite and get together, no matter what ethnic group you are. That's what America is all about. America has a dream. That's why we all come here. We all immigrate here. So we should all live together as a whole, never divide, and that's how you get things done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you. Well said. And Stephanie Wong from United Chinese Association.
My name is Stephanie Wong. I'm on behalf of the United Chinese Association of Brooklyn. I have been lived here. I have been lived here over 35 years, and it has never happened before. And this is the very beautiful, nice community in New York City. And we don't want this hate. Hate make everybody separate. We need peaceful. We are living the same community, same city, same country, and same world. So, we need the love to make our life beautiful, but not hate. I condemn this act of hate, and I would like to thank you all the elected officials. They are here to support our community. This is not only Chinese. That's going to happen other ethnic. Today is Chinese, tomorrow you don't know what. So we need to work together, and we can make this community better. And I like to thank everybody stand up and speak up for us against this hate. This is hate crime.
Thank you. I think it's so important to hear from the representatives and organizations from the Chinese community. And the next person is Dr. Tim Law, Chinese American Social Services.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so honored to be here to speak a few words. I will be very, very brief. I live in Brooklyn for 50 years. This is my first time to hear that somebody do some very, very bad things to our community. I'm an educator, always educate our students and parents to tolerate the other ethnic group, because other ethnic group, they bring their own culture, heritage, custom to this country. That's very, very important. We must appreciate to understand the other ethnic group's culture, custom, and cannot think that my culture, heritage is better than yours. I hope our elected official, Mr. Colton, Borough President, Mr. Treyger, conduct more community meetings so that all ethnic groups can come together to talk to each other, communicate each other, understand each other. This is the first day we gather here at the 86th Street. We must continue to fight. Don't stop right here. Okay, because this hate crime will be continued again and again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Our good friend from the Brooklyn Chinese Improvement Association, Rosetta Chan.
Good afternoon. My name is Rosetta Chan. We all know that all Asian immigrants since 18th century, we work hard and we pay high value on education. Unfortunately, Chinese character is very peaceful. They don't want to make trouble. And that is the reason we always target for racial comment. I was raised and taught being respect others and discipline. And this shameful act is totally unacceptable. I'm asking the law enforcement or the politician stand up to support this and stop this and find out who this is and they have to pay for it. And this nation are built on immigrants. We should treat equally. Thank you.
Thank you. Just want to also acknowledge some of the statewide and other electeds who's here. Ari-Kagan representing Congress, Controller Scott Stringer, and Wei Chan from Councilman Brennan's office, and Ari Chu from Peter Abadi office. And we have three candidates here, and I think it's only right for them to be able to speak. First, Andrew Gounardes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Borough President. My name is Andrew Gounardes, and I'm here as a candidate for the state Senate to represent this neighborhood. And I'm going to just echo what everyone has already said so eloquently. We cannot ever, ever, ever let hate like this stand in our community. We say no to hate. We say no to bigotry. We say no to discrimination. And we say no, never again. And it's incumbent upon all of us, whenever we see hateful rhetoric like this, hateful discriminatory attacks like this rear its ugly head, to stand united as one community together, regardless of when we came here or where our families came from, united as a community to say we will not allow this to infect and poison and divide our communities. We've come too far, and the battles we have ahead of us are too important to let this type of hate divide us and separate us. We will stand united, and we will overcome this hate. Thank you.
And Ross Barkin.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Ross Barkin. I'm also running for the 22nd State Senate District, and I want to thank all the leaders and advocates for being out here today. This truly is a very sad day, because we're reminded once again that hate like this is in our own backyards. That's not just abstract. It's not just coming out of Washington. We have sick people who want to discriminate against our community, our neighbors, right here in Brooklyn, in Bensonhurst. We have to find the perpetrator. We have to make sure he or she is brought to justice, and this is prosecuted as a hate crime, because the message has to be sent that you can't go around our businesses and our community writing sick, disgusting slurs against the Chinese community, because they get discriminated against too much. They are attacked just as much as any other group, and it's time we stand up and we say it loud and we say it clear. No hate belongs here. Thank you.
And Ethan Lustig. Ethan?
My name is Ethan Lustig El Gravely, and I'm a candidate for New York State Assembly in the 46th District. let me be very clear. There is absolutely no room in New York City or in this community for this type of hatred. This heinous act was unacceptable, despicable, and we will not tolerate it in this community. The person who is, or persons who is responsible for this absolutely must be brought to justice. And let us make no mistake, this is the definition of a hate crime. And I want to echo the words of others by saying it is not just enough that we stand here today in solidarity with the Asian American community. It is incumbent on all of us to act in solidarity with them, to root out this kind of hatred wherever we find it, to stand up and say, we will not tolerate this, we will not accept this, enough is enough, end the hatred today. Thank you again. My name is Ethan Lustigo-Grabbley, candidate for Assembly in the 46th District.
We're also joined by Katie Wong from Senator Golden's office, and our last speaker, Ari-Kagan, the district leader. And I noticed that the mother of Officer Liu is here, who was the first Chinese officer to die in the line of duty several years ago. And we need to keep in mind that when the community gives their son to lay down their life, it says a lot, and it really personifies the important role the Chinese community has played. When her son lost his life, it was a signal of how important this country is to all of us. And when you write disparaging graffiti attacking a community, you're also attacking the memories of that community and the sacrifices of that community and all they have given to make this a great city. So we want to thank her for joining us and continue to add her voice as she turned pain into purpose to weed out hate no matter what it is. The same level of hate take the lives of innocent people across this country, and we're going to stop it at its beginning stage. And that beginning stage is when you write graffiti, you think graffiti, you speak graffiti, then you act on what you have written, not in our Brooklyn, not in our city, not in our country. Ari will close this out.
My name is Ari-Kagan. I represent New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer. Comptroller Stringer sent me today to send a clear message to our Chinese American brothers and sisters that we stand together in New York City, capital of the world. New York City is based upon diversity, tolerance, acceptance. Comptroller Scott Stringer strongly believes that this is hate crime, that we need to send a clear message to anybody who hates in this city. This is attack on all of us. All of us are New Yorkers, all of us are Americans, and we stand together today with Asian American community. And we call upon anybody who has any information, please immediately contact NYPD and make it clear. Anybody who does any hate in this city should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Again, on behalf of New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer, I wanted to express our solidarity with our Asian American brothers and sisters. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ari.
I think it's only fitting Irene to say a few words. Irene, turn it the way it close.
Thank you. My name is Irene Chu. I'm here on behalf of our Assemblyman Peter Abadi. I'm his district director. Unfortunately, he won't be able to join us. His schedule just, we didn't expect this, but yesterday when we first found this incident, I've been closely talking to the Assemblyman, and also we've been spoken to 62nd Precinct, and we instantly report to the police. This kind of behavior, we want to send a strong message to the community. It's not acceptable. And this kind of hate shouldn't be exist or accept or happen in our community. This community, our nation and our city and our community are built by immigrants. We're all immigrants. We should work together. Diversity is the beauty of this city, of this nation. Hate is ugly. This kind of slur, this kind of word, this kind of act of hate shouldn't be acceptable. So here on behalf of our Assemblyman Peter Abadi, I would like to thank all the elected officials and Borough President Eric L for putting this up to send a strong message to the community. We all stand together and we're gonna find this person and bring it to justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, open to any questions? And we look forward to doing that. The person who wrote on this building and other buildings is not representative of who and what we stand for. We stand for a united front.